Hello everyone, Gaming Warrior here, coming to you with a TCG new set analysis. Today we'll be doing, I can't even remember what this is, but this will be pre-recorded because making videos hard. Shut up. So, right away, I'm going to talk about this deck. Let's talk about Trevenant EX first, so look over to the right at Trevenant EX. Trevenant works really well now with a, certain deck, Vrisian Genesect. I see a obvious Vrisian Genesect Trevenant deck, or maybe just Trevenant Vrisian. Um, because of his Wood Blast, which does 20 more damage for each grass energy attached to it. Oh, excuse me. And basically, what it does is it allows you to do lots of damage really quickly with a Muscle Band, a Laser, a Verbank, and 4 energy. You can one-shot anything, and with a Muscle Band and 5 energy, you can deal 170 damage, which knocks out a lot of popular EXs. Sceptile, I feel like, will be good with Trevenant after the next rotation with Nature and Heal, which each time you attach grass energy from your hand, you heal 30, which makes Trevenant more tanky. So, yes, that's what that was. Next is Ludicolo. Ludicolo's ability, Captivating Rhythm. Once during your turn, you flip a coin if heads, which your opponent's active Pokemon with one of his revenge Pokemon. Not really good. I thought it was just a free one. I didn't read it fully, apparently. So, yeah, interesting, but not really going to be used at all for anything. So, yeah. So, moving on to Fire, we have 3 specific cards. That would be these 3 cards I'm about to bring up. And let's talk about this card first. So, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, so I'm not even going to try. So basically, you use him for Explosion Jet, which it's a lot like Magnezone Prime's old attack, except a little bit better. Basically, what you do is you use Explosion Jet for 2 fire energy and 2 double colorless. It does 50 times, and you can discard as many fire energy from your side of the field as you want. That doesn't mean you can discard from your hand, though. So if you have any energy on your side of the field, then you can use this. You would need to have at least 2 to use Explosion Jet by itself, and you basically discard 4 energy for 200 damage, and yeah, it's really good with when you can discard just 3 energy and get a knockout, and versus anything that's weak to fire, such as some metal decks that are getting popular, and Vrisian Genesect, or any grass deck really. You can use 2 energy by itself, and on a lower level or lower HP Pokemon, just 1 energy with the Muscle Band can knock them out. So yeah, so you're gonna be discarding a lot of energy, which makes this problematic, which is where this guy comes in. So let's talk about Blaziken. What Blaziken does, you attach 3 energy cards from your discard pile to any of your Pokemon anyway. Like, this is really good for accelerating, because you can get this turn 2, and I'll explain how you get a few energy in the discard pile. It's really easy, and it can be done really quickly. You can get a few energy into, you can get like 5 energy into play, I think, like turn 2, and get and draw a lot of cards with that. So I'll talk about that in a second when I go over to Torchic. But basically, you use Spreading Flames to spread the fire energy across your field, setting up Camperump. I tried pronouncing it and it failed. So that's why Blaziken's in the deck. Also, Heat Blow isn't bad for just 2 energy, you deal 100, and you discard both. He is a stage 2, but I don't think that's going to affect it that much. I feel like they're making stage 2 more viable by making them more powerful. And on to what really combines this deck is this Torchic, actually. Probably one of the best starters for a certain deck, is this Torchic. With its new Barrage passive thing, it can attack twice. So what you do is you use Flare bonus, and you discard a Fire Energy from your hand and draw 2 cards, and then you discard another Fire Energy and draw 2 more cards because of its Barrage deck. And that's basically just drawing 4 cards so you can get Energy Acceleration. That's what I mean. Turn 2, you can have like 5 energy on the board. So you attach mainly Torchic, and then you rare Candy Ob, and you discard Fire Energy some other way. There's lots of ways to do that in this metagame. There's plenty of ways to do that. There's actually one in this set, at least one, and you can get either a turn to 100 damage off or 120 with a Muscle Band, or you can just start accelerating really quickly and get like a turn 2 Explosion Jet off for 200 damage or 150 with a Muscle Band. So I feel like this deck is going to be decent. I'm not sure how good it's going to be, but it will definitely stand out. So give me a second to set this up. Sorry, this is pre-recorded again because Bandicam, Bandicam sucks. So let's talk about this deck: Swampert and Primal Kyogre EX. So Primal Kyogre obviously has a Spirit Link because they're always printing Spirit Links now because they realize that Mega suck without them. Sorry, I've been sick and having lots of white grass. So let's talk about Swampert first. Swampert is probably the more powerful of the two. Both of them are pretty good. So basically what you do is that you use Swampert's Hydro Pump, which is 40 plus 30 for each water energy attached to it. And then that is with a Muscle Band and 4 energy, that's knocking out anything that has 170 HP. And its ability to Diving Draw is really good as well. Basically, you search your deck for a card, like put it off to the side or something, shuffle your deck, and put it on top of your card. You will see how ridiculously easy it is in this set alone, how you can get cards drawn, especially those on the top of your deck. And Primal Kyogre is used because of Tidal Storm and 240 HP. Tidal Storm does 150 damage, 270 with a Muscle Band, knocking out a lot of EXs, and it moves 2 energy from Primal Kyogre to another Pokemon on the bench. It can either set up a Swampert, or that can set up another Primal Kyogre, and you can just swap between the 2 or maybe 3. And then it does 30 damage to each opponent's bench Pokemon EX. So this is actually really good because both of these actually have the growth passive, I believe. So yeah, both these have the growth passive thing. I don't know what to call it. I'm just going to call it a passive thing. And when you attach a energy from your hand, you can attach another one, which I think is how it works. I don't think you can attach 3. You can attach 2. So that's either turn 2 Hydro Pump for 170 damage with the Muscle Band, or that's turn 2 Tidal Storm with 170 damage with the Muscle Band, and 30 damage to each Pokemon, to the bench Pokemon EX. So this is probably going to be the new Blastoise Keldeo after Blastoise Keldeo. Blastoise Keldeo isn't that bad at all, but I think this will overthrow that. Maybe in this metagame actually, because both of these cards are really strong. I definitely see Primal Kyogre going into normal Blastoise Keldeo decks. And there's also a Milotic that is not in this set, it's in one of the previous set, Phantom Forces, I believe, that can knock itself out and get 3 energy out of the deck and attach them to 1 or any of your Pokemon anyway. Like, that's really helpful because that gives you turn 2 manually attach to 1 Primal Kyogre, and then you have another on the bench to go. If you can attach them to any Pokemon, then that means you can have up to 3 Primal Kyogre ready at any point. Or you can just set up Swampert to do ridiculous amounts of damage for low energy as well. I feel like Primal Kyogre will be better, but I think it's going to naturally pair with Swampert. Moving on to Wailord EX, probably the worst EX we've gotten in a while. I'm not going to say it's the worst one ever, but basically, it has 250 HP. Wailords always have the most HP when they're released of anything. And basically, what it does is that it does things. It does 120 damage for 5 water energy, which isn't good at all. And it's now asleep. So this does maximum 104 damage, 170 with a Reverbing Laser maybe. So you can one shot a few things, but for 5 energy, and whenever you touch a water energy, you remove all special conditions. So I can see this going to Primal Kyo or Swampert, but I don't see it doing very well. And another card that's kind of interesting is this card. Now that we don't have Devolution Spray, this isn't as good. And it's also ability. I wish it could be better. It could be a lot better, actually. Um, so Milotic, what it does is when you evolve Phoebus with it, you put a card from your discard pile into your hand. Now, if this was like you discard a card for another card in your discard pile, that'd be really good. I'd say this would be like you'd have this 1-for-1 with the other Milotic, but you'd probably have this 3-to-1 if you're running a very heavy Milotic line. I don't see this being that good. It's just something I wanted to bring up as a sort of interesting card from this set. And so also, what I don't get is why are they just so small? Have you seen the other cards here? I don't get it. You see me spazzing out there? And then also, Manaphy also pretty good in theory in the water decks. I'm not sure how it'll play out. So, hold on. Let me just get my mouse out of the way. So, what Manaphy does, you shuffle your deck into your deck and then you draw 6 cards. Very simple, really good draw power in the early game. And Lifesaver also, you put 2 water Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand, so that can be that Primal Kyogre you need to get the kill on the benched Pokemon that has 150 damage on it already with 30 damage to just all bench EXs. Or it can just be a recovery move to get some cards back, such as Milotic actually. So yeah, shuffle your deck into your deck. Pretty good. I'd say pretty good starter actually. And so Electros, this is a card I definitely want to talk about. This card is very interesting, but I'm not sure how it will do. Actually, it's very, very good when, in theory, in a Darkrai Hydreigon deck. Now, Darkrai Hydreigon was rotated out with Dragons Exalted being gone now, but there's a new Hydreigon printed in Phantom Forces, I believe, that makes it so that you can Dark Patch once every turn for each one you have out. So what Lurtrus does is it moves that basic energy from the bench, because you can attach to the active with his ability, and you can move it to the active. So I'm not sure how this will do. Actually, it's interesting, or as often as you like. So that makes it a little bit better. But this is definitely an interesting card. I want to see how this plays out. I wish this was a EX instead of a Stage 2. But with Darkrai's Free Retreat, is this Darkrai still being played, right? I could see this being okay, actually. Maybe, like, I only see this working out in Darkrai, because Fairy decks already have free movement of all their energy, so I'm not sure when Electrox is going to be used. It seems like it has potential, but I'm not sure how it's going to be used in this format. Also, ×2 weakness to fighting is not good to have. So let's move on to something that should have been printed a while ago. Something that can one-shot everything in the game besides Megas. So with the new Barrage passive, Nidoqueen can possibly get a turn 2 knockout on, like, anything. With a Muscle Band and the new Stadium Fit Forces, that makes it so that your energy costs are 1 colorless less. You can use Dynamite Punch, which is 70 damage and 20 to yourself. And then with a Muscle Band, it's 90 damage, and with Barrage, you can one-shot everything. Now, if you do get a hit, you're probably going down, because Yveltal can one-shot you with a Muscle Band. Yeah, Yveltal can one-shot you with a Muscle Band. So, you might want to be careful, but if you don't get hit, then you can one-shot everything. And a 2-for-1 price rate isn't bad, but the fact is, this is a Stage 2 does hold it back a little bit. Moving on. eventually. So probably one of the most hard cards from this set is Rhyperior. So Rhyperior in a vacuum seems good. It has barrier, which means you can't use trainers on it. So no Pokemon catcher. You still use supporters on it like Lysander or things like that, or Zero Sick. However you pronounce that. Well, you can't use like Enhanced Hammer or Crushing Hammer. I don't think that's legal anymore. Or Hypnotoxic Laser or Pokemon Catcher. You can't use those things on Rhyperior. Um, so besides that, why is this card hyped? Rock Wall. Basically, for every Rhyperior you have out, you take 10 less damage. Which isn't bad, but isn't the best. If it was 20 damage, because remember, this is a stage 2. If this was 20 damage, it would be pretty good. And its attack, hammer, arm isn't bad. 4 energy, 3 with a double colorless, and you can add strong energy, do 140, 160 with a muscle band, and then Burning Laser to knock out everything that's not a mega, and discard that card to your opponent's deck. I don't think this will be that good, but it does have some potential. Excuse me. And probably one of the best cards in this set is actually Primal Groudon. So basically, what Primal Groudon does is for 4 energy, because you can't use double colorless energy, you deal 100 damage. And then 200 damage if you have Stadium in play. Now, trust me, every deck wants to have a Stadium in play, whether it be Metals, Steel Shelter, or Mystic Valley, or whatever it is for the Psychic decks. Every deck wants to have a Stadium in play. Dawn Fan especially is a popular one, and every deck wants to have a Stadium in play. So this does a consistent 200 damage. At least once used once. You probably want to run a few more stadiums than normal with this if you're trying to build around Primal Groudon. But I see this doing fairly well. Moving on, eventually. Sorry about this. And Groudon. Also, what the heck? So moving on to Sharpedo X, because I just want to go over every X. So Sharpedo X is interesting because it's not really that good. It's just like sort of good. What holds it back is the 2 dark energy cost. If it was a dark energy and a double colors energy, this would probably be one of the best EXs in this set, if not X and Y. Because what it does, let's go with Hunt first. So you switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for their active, and it does 30 damage to the new active Pokemon. Okay. Not really good on the EX. This would be like a stage 2 attack, and EXs are supposed to be better than stage 2s. And then there's Jagged Fang. Jagged Fang does 100 damage for 3 energy, because you can't use a double colorless. This was double colorless. This was double colorless compatible, and this would probably be one of the best cards in the format, at least one of the best dark cards. And then you discard energy attached to Sharpedo and the opponent's active, which is really good actually. If this was double colors compatible, this would be very good against Evil Dog, because you can 2-shot anything in the game, and with Burbank Laser Muscle Band, you can 1-shot anything that's below 150 HP, and if they don't switch out, then it's 100. Then it's the magic number 180, but you could 2-shot anything besides that. And if it was double colors compatible versus an Evil Doll, you could discard double colorless and still have 100 damage on that Evil Doll. So why this looks good on the surface, but it really isn't. Also, what's with the 1 retreat cost? Then Sharpedo was supposed to be like fast, like no retreat cost. So shiny cards, yay! So let's talk about Mega Aggron for a little bit, because Mega Aggron is the only good one of these two. Normal Aggron sucks a lot. So Mega Aggron EX has Megaton Slam. It does 120, and if you flip heads on a coin flip, it does 240. But if you flip tails, it's 20 to each of your bench. This is really good with Mr. Mime, obviously. You can avoid that damage, and Trick Coin, I think one is from Phantom Forces, where you can reflip. So there's actually a new Metal Energy in this set that's going to boost regular metal decks to Super Saiyan limits. And this really is helping that, because if you have 2 special energy and then double colors, that's 3 energy for 120, potentially 140 damage, and then you have effectively 260 HP. So nothing is going to one-shot you, not even fire types. I don't think there's a fire type that can deal that much damage, and like, you can't just revenge KO, except maybe the new Blaziken deck, the EX with that. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. So this one is an interesting person because it also got really hyped. So Extra Drill, what it does, I don't see it being very good. It can deal 140 damage, and then for a big Clayster, you can deal 170 damage in 1 turn. Or you can use it what it's probably going to be used for. Use it in fairy decks. Why this would be good in fairy decks or Electros decks with Evoltol, like Electros, Evoltol, I don't see that being bad either. Basically, Dredge, its first attack, you can put search your deck for 2 energy cards to put them on it. Excuse me, and then you can do it again because of Barrage. This can be a good revenge killer against fairies. You just put it down and then you can attack for 100 damage or 140 damage. Because you can use Dredge and the Maklaw. But I think this will be used mainly in fairy decks and Evoltol decks, running the new Electrox. But it's not bad, but it's not the best either. It's definitely interesting, and we'll probably see some play. Next up is Aegislash, last interesting metal Pokemon. What Aegislash does is what Aegislash is supposed to do, and not what's supposed to. I'm sorry. So what Aegislash does is get rid of all your weaknesses. That's all of your weaknesses. So not every Pokemon to play doesn't have a weakness. Not a stadium card. So your Pokemon doesn't have a weakness. This is very good in metal decks, especially because they can always be one shot by Pyroar. Don't think there's a besides Mega Aggron who won't be knocked out by Pyroar in one shot. This prevents them from being one shot. And you, some decks run an Aegislash line with a. I actually don't see what's wrong with a Aegislash line in a metal deck. I guess it's really not that good. But if you are running an Aegislash line, you can definitely run the Aegislash line. You can definitely run this. It's actually not bad of an attacker. With a metal energy and a double colorless and a muscle band, it's 100 damage and it protects against 20 damage. Or yeah, so they only 160 damage to knock it out. When the new metal energy really need 170, which basically means you have 170 HP, which is really good, and you could 2-shot everything, and you don't have a weakness. So I see this being a situational card, but I don't imagine it won't get play. Next up is Azurill. Azurill has the recovery passive. I haven't touched on that very much because not many good Pokemon have that. This Pokemon is healed, double that amount healed. There are a lot of healing cards in this format, and a lot of healing cards, a lot of healing attacks in this format. So I don't see this being bad. It's not, especially things like Max Potion. I think that's still legal. I think that was reprinted in Plasma Freeze as a secret rare. Don't quote me on this, but with fairy decks, you can easily get rid of the damage and do another dwindling wind wave. And if you don't get one shot, you can deal a consistent 100 damage. And it does have that resistant Evoltol, which is always nice. Moving on, we're going to go to what is going to make fairy decks probably one of the biggest threats in the metagame, and that would be this Pokemon and this Pokemon. Let's talk about Gardevoir EX, since I don't want to blow your little mind real quick. So normal Gardevoir EX actually has very good synergy with that Azurill I was just talking about. Life Leap, 20 damage, heal 20, or you heal from this Pokemon the same amount. Okay, so it's not right or wrong. Whatever. Okay, so you deal 40, heal 40 with a Muscle Man, and then 3 energy, deal 100 damage, and you have no weakness extra. So not very good, not very underwhelming. But as you know, there's Mega Gardevoir, and Jesus, this is strong. So for 2 energy, you deal 30 damage because you have to have fairy energy, and you probably want to have double colorless energy. You deal 30 damage. times the number of fairy energy attached to all of your Pokemon. This is really ridiculous considering the amount of acceleration they have. I'm not actually sure it's acceleration. I think they have acceleration, and the fact that they don't have status effects, and there's lots of viable attackers, and they'll generally have, because if you have 5 energy not on a Mega Gardevoir, and you have if you have 5 fairy energy not on Mega Gardevoir, you have 1 on Mega Gardevoir, and then a double colorless on Mega Gardevoir, that's one-shotting everything in the game. And you only need 5 total energy, 5 total fairy energy in play to deal with a muscle band to do 170. So I see this card really giving Fairy X that edge. I'm not sure how this will do, but I really feel like this is going to give that Fairy X just dominance over the format. It's going to be the new Darkrai Dragon, because we all know how fair that deck was. Sorry about that. I just don't see why they would do this. It seems ridiculous and just insane. Because you can just have a 1-turn Revenge Killer set of Gardevoir. Because you can manually attach double colorless, and then you can just move around the energy, so you can have one on them. And then Spirit Link, Mega Gardevoir, Retreat or Switch or whatever, and could do 180 damage in 1 turn. It's ridiculous that they would do that. I personally think it's ridiculous. It's really good. I imagine this puts Fairy Dex as the top threat in the metagame. Hold on, I was planning for me to do this a little bit differently. Okay, move on. But yeah, I do see this being a little bit ridiculous. So, Kingdra, let's talk about Kingdra. Not that Kingdra. Put that Kingdra away. Then I brought Flygon. Stop doing things, me. Okay, now let's see. So, Kingdra is probably going to be good in Blastoise decks. And then, decks that allow you to touch extra energy from the hand. What this does, gather strength, you get 4 energy from your deck, and then put them into your hand. This is going to be very good in decks that can energy accelerate from the hand, or decks that accelerate from the discard, such as the new Darkrai or Evil Doll Hydreigon, because you can discard them with things like Ultra Ball, or Dragon Blast for 3 energy, 2 water, and a lightning. Deal 140 damage, and you discard all the energy, and then you deal 150 damage. Now this would be very underwhelming if we didn't have Laser Verbank, and we didn't have Muscle Band. So you can one-shot everything with the 170 HP or below with Muscle Band, or you can one-shot everything with 180 HP or below with Verbank Laser. Take your pick. And growth, set this up turn 2. Like, I really feel like they're trying to make stage 2s viable again. I really think they're doing a good job by just making them on par with EXs. Set it slightly below. Like, I feel like some stage 2s, especially this one is stronger than most of the EXs we got. So, Flygon. Let's talk about Flygon. Flygon, this weird thing of weirdness. I never knew it actually had eyes. I thought it was just like its eyes were the red bulbs. So what it does, Sand Flap, only reason you'd be using it. You choose either player and they shuffle their hand into their deck and draw 4 cards. This is really good actually as a support Pokemon. If it wasn't a stage 2, if it was an EX, or they changed Rick Candy back, Nintendo, or Pokemon of America or whatever, then this would be pretty good actually. This would probably be one of the best support cards in the game, but as it stands, it's going to be a situational support card for situational decks, and it basically allows you to either your Pokemon uses something like Gather Energy, like on the Kingdra I just mentioned, or something that allows them to draw a bunch of cards from an attack or enter their turn with something like playing Expanded or playing with Tropical Beach. You can just Sand Flap, and then I'm sorry, but you don't. You have a hand of 4 now. Or if you have a crummy hand, like you're playing if you have a crummy hand, you can do this. Or if you can use something like hand scope and use this to get rid of the resources, to actually be pretty decent. And besides that, get rid of this to get rid of your crummy hand. Or if you're playing a turbo deck, then this would also be pretty good because you probably run out of your hand very quickly. Also, the fact that it shuffles your hand into your deck until you draw 4 is much better than drawing until you have 4. And moving on to the only interesting normal type from this set, Bumblebee. Hold on, let me explain. You have to get disgusting one. Not double eight. So these two are interesting because it does things. So Bumblebee is pretty good actually. Barrage, you can attack twice in a turn. You're mostly going to be using it for Burrow, which you discard attack card of your opponent's deck, and then the other attack, you shuffle a card from your discard pile into your deck. That's not very bad for 1 energy. I see this being a 1-off card, or 2-off, like a starter, like a Moga. But its evolution, though, Diggersby, is kind of worse. You flip a coin until you get tails for each head to card top card of your opponent's deck. I feel like they're trying to get like a you're supposed to deck your opponent out kind of strategy, which I can see. I'm not sure how good that would be though. But with coin trick, you have a 1/4 or 3/4 chance of discarding top card and 1/2 chance, I think. It's a half times halves, fourth chance of getting 2 cards, and then a fourth chance of just doing nothing with coin trick. And on to probably the best part about any set is going to be the train ards. So remember Swampert that I was talking about earlier, where you can put a card on top of your deck? Well, Acrobite, which looks at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand, one of them into your discard pile. So it's really good for decks that need energy in the discard pile, and can really accelerate. Because we already have a normal bicycle, this will really accelerate turbo decks and will really help things like Night March, especially because you can discard Pokemon, and you will help things like Dragon, especially because you can discard energy. So yeah, new turbo deck thing. Then we have Spirit Link. We have this card. This card is interesting because this card. Remember that Swampert deck I was talking about? Remember that Mach Bike I was talking about, or Acrobite? Remember the fact that I said there were really good ways to draw cards in this? RGC as a whole is probably one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. You put a water Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand, and then you draw 5 cards. What? This is probably one of the most overpowered things I've ever seen. Sure, it only works with water Pokemon, but it's not like you can't just put in a few water Pokemon to just get this massive 5 draw for no drawback besides putting a water Pokemon onto your bench, which isn't even a drawback. Like, I see this making Blastoise Keldeo the most ridiculous thing for its last legs, because ridiculousness. It's I shouldn't need to explain this. I really shouldn't need to explain this any further. Going on to Dive Ball. So, more ridiculousness. So, you just search for a water Pokemon, and you reveal it, and you put it into your hand. No drawbacks. Just take a water Pokemon out of your deck. Remember, the supporter I was just talking about? Remember Ultra Ball, how it's doing the format? Yeah. Like to see how not ridiculous this turns out for water decks. So, yeah. Let's see how good this meta goes and how much there is in water. Reprint. Yes, it's still a reprint. Be a share, reprint. and then fresh water. So mentioned earlier how there was a way to heal in this. There's at least one way to heal in this form. I'm not certain that Max Pushing was reprinted. I think it was reprinted in either Boundaries Cross or Plasma Freeze. I think it was Plasma Freeze, and it heals all damage. This, well, you had discard energy, which doesn't matter in High Dragon, Evil decks, or Fairy decks. This, you just give 20 damage out to all your Pokemon. I just wanted to bring this up temporarily because it's interesting. It's not going to be the best, I guess, with a damage spread deck on your side. Spirit Link, Spirit Link, Spirit Link. And then this, I don't honestly know if this is a misprint. I would think it would be fire, but if it is fire or if it is fighting, then hi Dogman, how are you doing? If it is fire, then hi Blaziken, other dude I was talking about earlier. Let's see how not overpowered you are. Again, I don't think I need to explain this. And for some reason, Team Magma doesn't have the same search card that Team Aqua got. So, Rift Search versus Observation. This card is, I want to say good. I really want to say this card is good, but I can't really say this card is good. I can't say this card is good because it's based on a coin flip. So let me explain what this does. You shuffle your hand into your deck and then flip a coin. If you hit heads, you get heads, and you draw 7 cards, this is really good. Or if you flip tails, you draw 4 cards, which is still decent. If you get, I guess it's better than an N in the late game, but I don't want to say this is good. It's decent. I wish they had just reprinted Professor Oak's new theory. I think what it was, where you just shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6. I guess we had that with Bianca, or Shauna, reprinted Rare Candy. And then Repeat Ball. The Repeat Ball is actually really good. I don't see why you wouldn't want to run this in a deck. You search for a deck with the same name as one of your Pokemon in play, and you put it in your hand. This is probably the best search card we have in the game right now, for Pokemon at least. And I don't see why there's no reason to run at least 2 of them in every deck. So there's the standard 2 Lysander, 4 Juniper, 4 N, 4 Colress, and 2 Repeat Ball. So yeah, best searching card in the game for Pokemon. Also, what's with this background? Moving on though to more ridiculousness. Rough Seas, once they're in turn, each player can heal 30 from each of their water and electric Pokemon. Hi Swampert, hi Blastos Caddy, how are you guys doing? I think you guys are doing absolutely fine. See how you guys are doing so well. Scorchers, this is why I think that Old One won't be a or the Maxi one, the support card I was thinking might be reprinted. This is why I think it might, or misprint. This is why I think it might not be a misprint, because of this card. Once during your turn, you can discard a fire or a fighting energy and draw 2 cards. It's just not the best draw support we've got, but because it's a stadium, it's going to be pretty good. Hey Blaziken, how are you guys doing? Yeah, I feel like you guys are doing absolutely fine. Yeah, because I don't know if that's a misprint. Because this guy is water. I guess Team Magma is like Earth. But let's talk about Shrine of Memory. So basically, what you do here, is this the spot in the game? I don't think this is a spot in the game. I don't know if this is a spot in the new games. But basically, you can use any attacks from your previous generations. So remember that Blaziken deck I was talking about? Well, draw 4 cards anytime you want. Yeah. So this is actually going to be pretty good in mid game all around. With evolution cards. Silent Lab. What does this do again? Oh, each basic Pokemon has no abilities in play at all. So this is like, I can't even explain. So no more Darkrai. No more Virizion. No more Execute. No more anything that's basic that has an ability. And this is really ridiculous because it's, again, a stadium card. Sure, Mega Groudon counters it, but it's also Mega Groudon. Why would you want to attach 4 energy to deal with 200 damage, which is a lot, but if they don't have a Mega or EX up, then it's kind of useless. I think this forces every deck to either run a stadium or run a counter stadium or run Silent Lab. Those are your two options. Run Silent Lab and go with it and don't have any Pokemon or basic that have abilities, or run counter stadium cards. Mega Groudon doesn't carry either way though. Mega Groudon just kills everything. But this is still. I was trying to read this while I was recording this because I couldn't read because Polka Beach is bad. This card, reprint of an old card, except it's worse. So the old Twins. This is very reminiscent of a Twins card, which if you were down on prizes, you could just take 2 cards out of your deck and put them into your hand, and that's just for your turn. This card I see is running 2 in every deck. Probably because if your Pokemon was knocked out during the last turn, which you can knock out more than one Pokemon a turn because of my logic. So I think this is just going to be active. I'm not sure the rulings on this yet, but I think this is if your active Pokemon is knocked out, which again, my logic high. You can search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand. Oh, during your opponent's last turn. So yeah, you can still knock out more than one though. You can still knock out nothing but the end. So I'm not sure how they're gonna rule this, but yeah, pretty good actually. Because if you can get this off, then you could just get 2 cards out of the deck for free. I guess it takes up your supporter for the turn, but who cares? It's 2 computer searches without having to discard 4 cards. So that's really good actually. This is probably going to be a new standard thing. Also, hi Metal X, I hear you guys are doing absolutely fine now. So basically, this is a new special energy. They've been printing new special energy for each type. And this is just a reprint of a old one. That you can only attach it to a metal Pokemon, and it takes 10 less damage, which is kind of ridiculous. I don't think I really need to explain that. So basically, if you're an Aegislash that already has Mighty Shield, so that you don't take damage from special energy, I'm talking about Aegislash EX from Phantom Forces, then they had to go through this. So let's see how that goes out, or that turns out. That'll be interesting. And this. So if you have this, it gives the fairy energy going towards the Gardevoir. You don't take any other effects of damage besides damage, or any other effects of attacks besides damage. So, I'm not sure how they're gonna rule this in terms of like discarding stadiums, but you can't have energy discarded. You can't have stat effects applied through attacks. So that's pretty good. That's another boost to fairy. So I guess they really like fairies to be the most overpowered thing ever. Weakness policy. This is really good in metal decks, actually, because it removes your weakness. Why do they reprint this? Hate Nintendo. So before we go, I would like to say thank you for watching. I would like to see how not overpowered Primal Kyogre is with I think it's gonna be just normal Primal Kyogre and then Primal Kyogre Swampert. I feel like that's gonna be the 2 decks revolving around Primal Kyogre. I want to see how not overpowered that is, and cause it's going to be used. I really doubt that's not going to be one of the top metagame threats. So watch out for Primal Kyogre, Mega Gallade, because that's also going to be one of the new metagame threats. It's Mega Gallade because 6 energy, 400 damage, they don't have to be on what Pokemon. Primal Kyogre, or not Primal Groudon is going to be a thing. And Camp Rut. I think that's what it was. The Blaziken deck I was talking about earlier is going to be a big threat in the metagame. And because of Maxi's hidden ball trick, you get to experience Donphan at broken level. So good luck with that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.